The art exhibition was housed in an old factory building with high ceilings and exposed brick walls. Alira arrived early watching humans set up final displays. Her species valued punctuality, but she soon learned humans often arrived later than the stated time. She used the extra minutes to calm her nerves. Something about Nicole made her forget her training as an observer. Nicole arrived wearing a blue dress that matched her eyes. She smiled warmly when she spotted Alira. "You look nice," Nicole said, approaching. "Is that traditional clothing from your world?" Alira looked down at her silver tunic with geometric patterns. "Yes, for formal occasions I thought it appropriate. It's beautiful." Nicole touched the fabric lightly, sending an unexpected sensation through Alira's skin. Her species was sensitive to touch, a fact not included in human briefing materials. They walked through the exhibition, stopping at paintings, sculptures, and interactive displays. Artists from every continent had contributed works exploring humanity in all its forms. Alira was fascinated especially by pieces about connection, family, and love. "This one is my favorite," Nicole said, standing before a large canvas showing two figures silhouetted against a starry sky, their hands almost but not quite touching. The artist calls it almost there. The space between them, Alira observed, it holds tension possibility. Exactly. Nicole smiled. Sometimes the moment before connection is the most powerful. Alira thought about the space between their own hands, now just inches apart. Was there tension there too? She was not supposed to form attachments. Her mission required objectivity. They continued through the exhibition, discussing each piece, Nicole explaining cultural contexts Alira had missed. Afterward, they found a quiet cafe nearby. "What do you think about humans now?" Nicole asked, stirring her tea. "After seeing how we express ourselves through art. You are more complex than my briefing suggested," Alira admitted. "More contradictory, more interesting." Briefing. Nicole raised an eyebrow. "That sounds official," Alira realized her mistake. "Research materials, I meant research materials." Nicole didn't press, but her expression showed she noticed the slip. "And what about your people? Do they create art?" "Yes, but differently. Our art spans centuries. Some artists work on single pieces for their entire lives. We perceive time differently." "How long do your people live?" Nicole asked. "On average, about 500 of your years." Nicole nearly spilled her tea. 500, you look about my age. I am young for my kind, only 76. 76. Nicole laughed. "I'm 30. A difference in time but not in stage of life." Alira said, "We both have much to learn." Their conversation flowed easily. Moving from art to music to family structures, Alira found herself sharing more than she intended. Nicole was easy to talk to, genuinely interested in understanding Alira's world. "Do your people have relationships like humans do?" Nicole asked. "Dating, romance, marriage." "We form bonds, but more slowly. Our word for partnership translates roughly to soul journey. Two beings walking the same path through time. Some journeys last decades, others centuries." "That sounds beautiful," Nicole said. "Humans could learn from that patience. Most of our relationships move too quickly. Sometimes I think that's why they fail." "And you?" Alira asked before she could stop herself. "Are you on a soul journey with someone?" Nicole shook her head. "Not currently. My last relationship ended a year ago. We wanted different things." She looked directly at Alira. "What about you? Any soul journeys?" "No," Alira said. "My work has been my focus." After the cafe, they walked through a nearby park. The night was warm, stars partially visible through city lights. Nicole pointed out constellations, explaining the myths behind them. Alira could have corrected her about the actual stellar formations, but she enjoyed the human stories more, and they sat on a bench facing a small pond. The water reflected the city lights, making it seem as if stars had fallen to Earth. "Can I ask you something, Alira?" Nicole said, her voice serious. "Why are you really here?" Alira tensed. "I told you I'm researching Human culture. I think there's more to it. Nicole turned to face her. The questions you ask, the things you notice, it's like you're evaluating us. Alira remained silent, struggling between her duty and her growing feelings for this perceptive human. It's okay, Nicole continued. You don't have to tell me, but I want you to know that whatever you're looking for, I hope you find it. And I hope it includes more nights like this. She reached out, touching Alira's hand. Their fingers intertwined, a gesture so simple yet so intimate. Alira felt her skin warm, changing color slightly in the darkness. I would like that, Alira finally said. More nights like this. When they parted, Alira returned to her small apartment. Her communication device was blinking, with an urgent message from the council. They were sending another observer, Talon, an older, more experienced member of her species. He would arrive within days to evaluate her progress. Alira felt a wave of concern. She had collected extensive data on human infrastructure, technology, and governance. But her reports on human nature had been intentionally vague, especially regarding their capacity for connection. She had begun to believe humans were ready for contact far ahead of the Council's timeline. Now she would need to justify her findings to Talon, who was known for his conservative views on emerging species. She sat at her desk preparing her official reports, carefully omitting her personal experiences with Nicole. These were not relevant to the mission, she told herself, but deep down she knew they were the most relevant data of all. The next morning, Alira walked to the bookstore hoping to see Nicole. The bell chimed as she entered, but a different human stood behind the counter. An older man with glasses. Can I help you? He asked. Is Nicole here today? Alira asked. She's out sick. Called this morning with a fever. He frowned slightly. Are you Alira? She mentioned you might come by, left something for you. He handed her a package. Wrapped in blue paper, inside was a book titled The Little Prince, with a note. Your research on humans wouldn't be complete without this. One of our most beloved stories. Call me when you've read it. Nicole. Alira held the book carefully, touched by the source gesture. She spent the afternoon reading the story of a boy from another world, learning about love and connection. She understood why Nicole had chosen it. The parallels to her own situation were striking. That evening she called Nicole, who answered, with a hoarse voice. You really are sick? Alira said, concerned. Just a cold. Nicole assured her. Did you get the book? Yes, I read it today. It was beautiful, sad but beautiful. What did you think of the fox secret? Alira remembered the line. It is only with the heart that one can see rightly. What is essential is invisible to the eye, I think, she said slowly. That there is wisdom in your species I had not fully appreciated. High praise. Nicole laughed, then coughed. When can I see you again? Soon. Alira promised, though she knew Talon's arrival might complicate things. Rest and recover first. After they hung up, Alira made a decision. She began writing a new report for the Council, one that conveyed her true findings about humanity. Their capacity for growth, understanding, and connection. She would recommend accelerated contact not centuries from now, but within decades. She knew this position would be controversial, perhaps even damage her career. But after knowing Nicole, after seeing humanity, through her eyes, she could not recommend otherwise. The stars seemed brighter that night as Alira looked up at the sky. The distance between worlds suddenly seemed less vast than the growing connection between two very different beings, both exploring the space between, almost there and truly connected. Alira walked through the crowded market of New Boston, her purple skin drawing stares from the humans around her. She adjusted her breathing mask, as the earth air was still hard for her lungs to process, even after 3 months on this planet. Her tall, slender frame towered over most humans, making her stand out even more. She was here on a mission, not as a tourist. The Galactic Council had sent her to study humans, to learn if they were ready to join the interstellar community. Most species needed centuries of observation before being welcomed. Alira was one of the youngest observers ever assigned to such an important task. She felt the weight of this responsibility as she moved through the market, Alira stopped at a fruit stand, picking up an apple. The vendor, a woman with graying hair, smiled at her. "First time trying an apple, dear?" the vendor asked. "Yes." Alira replied, her translator device converting her musical language into English. "We have similar fruits on my world, but none this color. Take it as a gift," the woman said. "Welcome to Earth." Alira nodded in thanks. The small kindnesses still surprised her. The council reports had described humans as primitive and aggressive, but she had found many to be curious and generous. Her observations often contradicted official records, which worried her. She continued walking until she reached her destination, a small bookstore tucked between larger buildings. Books were rare in the galaxy, replaced by digital information centuries. But humans still clung to paper and ink. Alira found this charming if inefficient. Inside the store, a woman with short red hair stood behind the counter. She looked up as Alira entered, her eyes widening slightly, but her smile remaining warm. "Welcome," she said. "Can I help you find something?" "I am looking for books about human relationships," Alira said directly. "My name is Alira. I am a cultural researcher." The woman nodded. "I'm Nicole, nice to meet you. We have several sections that might interest you: psychology, sociology, anthropology." "All of those, please," Alira said earnestly, causing Nicole to laugh. "Maybe we start with one. How long are you on Earth for?" "Undetermined," Alira replied. Which was true. The mission would last as long as needed. Nicole came around the counter. "Well then, let's find you something good to start with." For the next hour, Nicole guided Alira through different sections, explaining the differences between academic texts, personal accounts, and fiction. Alira absorbed everything, asking questions that sometimes made Nicole pause before answering. "You ask very interesting questions," Nicole commented. "Most researchers have more specific topics in mind." Alira considered her response carefully. "I am interested in how humans connect with each other. Your species forms bonds quickly compared to mine." "And how do your people form connections?" Nicole asked, leaning against a bookshelf. "Slowly. Very slowly," Alira admitted. "We live much longer lives. Some friendships take decades to form." "That sounds lonely." "It can be." Alira had never admitted this to anyone, not even herself. As they talked, the store emptied of other customers. The afternoon sun cast long shadows through the windows. Nicole checked her watch. "We're closing soon, but I was going to grab dinner after. Would you like to join me? You can ask more questions about human connections." Nicole smiled. Practical research. Alira hesitated. This was not in her mission. Protocols. Direct social engagement was discouraged. But wasn't this exactly what she needed to understand humans? "Yes," she finally said. "I would like that." They went to a small restaurant nearby, Nicole ordering for both of them when Alira seemed overwhelmed by the menu. The food was spicier than Alira was used to, but she enjoyed it, especially the dish called pasta. "So why Earth?" Nicole asked between bites. "There must be more interesting planets to study." "Earth is at a critical point," Alira said, before realizing this might reveal too much in your development as a global society. "You are interesting to cultural researchers." Nicole studied her face. "You're not just any researcher, are you?" Alira felt her skin flush, changing from purple to a deeper violet, a reaction her species had when nervous. "What do you mean?" "The way you ask questions. The things you're interested in. It's like you're evaluating us." Alira set down her fork, feeling trapped between her duty and the connection forming with this perceptive human. "I cannot discuss my work in detail." Nicole nodded. "Fair enough. We all have professional boundaries." She smiled, changing the subject. "Tell me about your home instead." Relieved. Alira described the twin suns of her homeworld, the floating cities, the music festivals. That lasted for days. She found herself sharing stories she hadn't thought about in years. "It sounds beautiful," Nicole said. "I hope I get to see it someday." "Perhaps you will," Alira replied, surprised to find she meant it, As they walked back to the bookstore where Nicole had parked her car, Alira felt conflicted. Her mission required objective distance, but she had enjoyed this evening more than any since arriving on Earth. "I would like to continue our discussion," Alira said as they reached Nicole's car. "Perhaps you could recommend more books, or we could just meet again," Nicole suggested. "There's an art exhibition opening this weekend, artists from around the world. Many perspectives on humanity. Would that help your research?" "Yes," Alira said, perhaps too quickly. "That would be valuable data." Nicole laughed. "Is that the only reason?" Alira paused, considering. "No," she admitted. "I enjoy your company." "Good." Nicole wrote her number on a bookmark and handed it to Alira. "Call me on Friday." As Nicole drove away, Alira looked at the bookmark, realizing she was crossing a line between observer and participant, between professional and personal. She should report this development to her superiors. She tucked the bookmark into her pocket instead. Some data she would keep to herself, at least for now. As she walked back to her temporary home, Alira wondered if the Council had underestimated humans. Perhaps they were more ready for the stars than anyone had realized. And perhaps she had more to learn from them than she ever expected to teach. Talon arrived 3 days later. His ship, disguised as a private jet, landed at a small airfield outside the city. Alira met him there, trying to hide her anxiety. He emerged tall and imposing, his deep blue skin marking him as an elder of their species. "Observer, Alira," he greeted formally. "Your reports have been received with interest." "Elder Talon," she bowed slightly. "Welcome to Earth." They traveled to a secure location, a house in the countryside purchased through shell companies for Council operations. Talon moved through the space with obvious distaste. "Such primitive accommodations," he noted, examining the kitchen appliances. "How have you tolerated living among them?" "I find humans resourceful," Alira replied carefully. "They compensate for their technological limitations with creativity." Talon made a dismissive gesture. "Show me your data." For hours, Alira presented her findings: statistics, infrastructure, technological assessments, everything the Council required. She intentionally saved her cultural evaluations for last, knowing they would provoke the most discussion. "You suggest they are ready for preliminary contact within 50 years?" Talon said. Reading from her report, "The standard timeline is 300 years minimum. What evidence supports such acceleration?" "Their rate of development is unprecedented," Alira explained. "They have advanced from primitive flight to space exploration in a single century. Their capacity to adapt and innovate exceeds projections." "Technology alone does not indicate readiness," Talon countered. "Their conflicts, their environmental damage, their treatment of their own species, these suggest immaturity." "They are learning," Alira insisted. "Each generation shows improvement. Their young people, especially, demonstrate evolving consciousness." Talon studied her, his eyes narrowing. "You have formed attachments here." Alira kept her expression neutral, though she felt her skin warming. "I have formed professional relationships necessary for my research. Show me." Talon demanded. The next day, Alira took Talon into the city disguised as a visiting dignitary. She showed him the infrastructure, the governance centers, the educational institutions. He remained unimpressed. "Take me where humans gather naturally," he finally said. "Not these official spaces." Reluctantly, Alira led him to the market where she had first met Nicole. She hoped Nicole would not be there today, not with Talon watching. They walked through the crowded space, Talon observing with critical eyes. "They are chaotic, inefficient," he noted. "They are vibrant, alive," Alira countered. "Watch how they interact." They observed a child fall, scraping her knee. Immediately, strangers gathered, helping the mother, comforting the child, offering bandages and soothing words. "Interesting," Talon admitted, "but isolated behavior." They continued to a park where people of all ages gathered. Some played games, others read under trees. A group of young humans planted new saplings along a path while elders sat on benches offering advice. Community restoration. Alira pointed out. Voluntary cooperation. Talon seemed less dismissive now, taking notes on his device. Their social structures deserve further study. As they turned to leave, Alira froze. Nicole was entering the park carrying books. She spotted Alira and smiled, starting in their direction. A contact? Talon asked, noticing Alira's reaction. A research subject, Alira said quickly. A local who has provided cultural insights before. She could divert him. Nicole reached them, her smile warm. Alira, I was hoping to see you, she said. Then noticed Talon. Oh, hello, Nicole. This is Talon, my... Alira hesitated. Colleague, supervisor. Talon corrected, extending his hand in the human gesture he had obviously studied. I oversee Alira's research. Nicole shook his hand. Nice to meet you. Are you also studying our quaint little species? Her tone was light, but Alira detected the underlying challenge. Nicole was more perceptive than most humans. I am evaluating the research progress, Talon said formally. And what do you think of us so far? Nicole asked directly. Talon seemed taken aback by her directness. Your species shows potential. Despite obvious limitations, Nicole raised an eyebrow. Limitations. We prefer to think of them as growth opportunities. Alira suppressed a smile. Nicole was holding her own against one of the council's most intimidating elders. Perhaps you could assist our understanding, Talon said, surprising. Alira, you seem unusually perceptive for a human. Happy to help, Nicole replied, though I should warn you my perspective might not match your research parameters. They spent the afternoon together, Nicole guiding them through parts of the city. Tourists never saw community gardens in former vacant lots, youth centers where children learned arts and technology, elderly homes where young people volunteered. Throughout, Talon observed and occasionally asked surprisingly thoughtful questions. When Nicole left to return to work, Talon was quiet for several minutes. She is not what I expected, he finally said. Few of them are when you truly engage. Alira replied. That evening in the countryside house, Talon reviewed his notes. Your subject, Nicole. She believes you are from another country studying cultural anthropology. Yes, that is her understanding. Yet she suspects more. Talon observed. She tests boundaries, asks provocative questions. She knows you are not what you claim to be. Alira tensed. She is intuitive. She is dangerous. Talon stated. Such perceptive humans could disrupt the observation process, or they could be valuable in eventual diplomatic relations. Alira countered. Talon looked at her closely. You have formed an attachment to this human. Alira considered denying it but knew it would be futile. I have formed a connection, yes, a friendship. Observers do not form friendships, Talon reminded her. We observe, we do not participate. Perhaps that methodology is flawed, Alira suggested boldly. How can we truly understand a species without engaging with them? This is why young observers are problematic. Talon sighed. You lack discipline. I lack prejudice. Alira replied, I came expecting to find the primitive species described in our briefings. Instead, I found complexity, depth, capacity for growth. And this human, Nicole. She has influenced your assessment. She has revealed aspects of humanity. Our distant observations missed? Yes. Talon was quiet, again thinking, I will need to meet more of these perceptive humans before I file my report. For the next week, Alira arranged meetings with humans from various fields, artists, scientists, teachers, community leaders. Each conversation seemed to shift Talon's perspective slightly. His questions became less dismissive, more genuine, his notes more detailed. They surprise me, he admitted one evening. Their short-lived existence should make them selfish, focused only on immediate needs. Yet many think, in terms of generations making sacrifices for future humans they will never meet. It is one of their most admirable qualities, Alira agreed. You're Nicole. Talon said. She has requested to meet again tomorrow at the art museum. Alira felt both excitement and concern. You told her yes, I did. I find her perspective valuable. He paused, and I believe you should be present. The next day they met Nicole at the museum. She had prepared a special tour focusing on human art that explored the cosmos, their understanding of existence beyond Earth. Humans have always looked to the stars, Nicole explained, showing them ancient celestial maps alongside modern space photography. It's in our nature to wonder what else is out there, who else is out there. Talon studied a painting of imagined alien worlds. Your species imagines contact in many forms, often violent. Fear of the unknown is natural, Nicole acknowledged, but so is hope, curiosity, connection. She looked directly at Alira as she said this as they moved through the exhibition. Nicole and Talon engaged in philosophical discussion about humanity's place in the universe. Nicole arguing passionately for human potential despite their flaws, Alira watched with growing admiration for both, her friend and her mentor, each challenging the other's assumptions. Later, as they sat in the museum cafe, Nicole looked between them. "You're not just researchers, are you?" she said quietly. "The questions you ask, the things you notice, the way you sometimes struggle with basic human customs." Talon stiffened. "What are you suggesting?" "I'm not sure," Nicole admitted. "But I feel like I'm being evaluated, not just studied, and not just me humanity." Alira looked to Talon, unsure how to respond. This moment fell outside protocol. "You are perceptive," Talon finally said, "more than most of your kind." "My kind," Nicole repeated, "as opposed to your kind." The silence stretched between them, Nicole waiting, Talon calculating, Alira holding her breath. Finally, Talon made a subtle gesture one Alira recognized as permission, a rare discretionary allowance for field observers. "Nicole," Alira said carefully, "if, hypothetically, there were other intelligent species in the galaxy, how do you think humans would react to such knowledge?" Nicole considered this seriously. With the full spectrum of human emotion, fear, excitement, curiosity, greed, hope, some would want to exploit the situation, others would see opportunity for growth. She paused. "But mostly I think we would finally understand our place in something larger than ourselves, and that understanding might be exactly what we need." Talon nodded almost imperceptibly. A thoughtful assessment. As they left the museum, Nicole squeezed Alira's hand. Briefly, "Whatever you're really doing here, I hope you see us clearly. Not just our flaws, but our potential." "I do," Alira promised. That night, Talon prepared his preliminary report, while Alira waited anxiously. "I will be returning tomorrow," he announced. "My assessment is complete," and Alira asked. 3 months passed. Alira's mission continued with new freedom to engage more deeply with humans. She documented everything from their educational systems to their conflict resolution practices, from family structures to artistic expressions, but increasingly her personal time was spent with Nicole. They hiked through forests, Nicole pointing out local plants and wildlife. They attended concerts, experiencing music that Alira found both chaotic and beautiful. They cooked meals together, Nicole teaching Alira human recipes adapted to her different dietary needs. They watched films about space, laughing at how humans imagined alien life. "Not purple enough," Nicole teased during one movie. "And where are their translation devices?" Through it all, Alira maintained her cover as a cultural researcher. From another country, not another world. But the line between research and genuine connection had blurred completely. She was learning about humanity, not just observing it. One evening, as they walked along the river, Nicole stopped, suddenly turning to Alira. "I need to ask you something," she said, her expression serious. "And I need you to be honest." Alira felt sudden anxiety. "What is it? Are you planning to leave soon? Your research must be nearing completion." Alira hesitated. The question seemed simple but carried complicated implications. "My project has been extended, but yes, eventually I will need to return to report my findings." "Return where exactly?" Nicole pressed. "Home," Alira said simply. Nicole took both of Alira's hands. Before you go, whenever that is, I want you to know something. I've fallen in love with you. Alira felt her skin flush with color, her heart's beating faster. Nicole, you don't have to say anything? Nicole continued. I know there's a lot you can tell me. I know there's something bigger happening here than just cultural research. I can see it in how you observe, how you document, how carefully you choose your words. She smiled. But whatever you're really doing here, whatever you're really studying, I know what I've learned. You are kind, brilliant, compassionate, and I love you. Alira struggled with protocol, with duty, with the truth. The council forbade emotional entanglements with observation subjects, but Nicole was so much more than a subject now. I have feelings for you, too. Alira finally admitted, deeper than I should, stronger than I expected. Is that a problem, where you're from? It's complicated. Nicole laughed softly. Relationships usually are even interplanetary ones. Alira looked up sharply. What did you say? I'm not blind, Alira. Nicole said gently, the questions you ask, the things that surprise you. Your reaction to our technology sometimes like it's primitive, the way you look at the stars not with wonder but with recognition. She squeezed Alira's hands. You don't have to confirm anything, I just want you to know that whoever you are, wherever you're from, it doesn't change how I feel. Alira stood frozen, caught between worlds, between duties. How had this happened? How had she allowed herself to fall in love with a human? And how had that human seen through her so completely? I can't, she started, then stopped. There are rules. I understand, Nicole said. But maybe rules change. Maybe that's how progress happens. Later that night, Alira sat in her apartment staring at her communication device. She needed to report this development. Nicole had essentially guessed her true nature. Protocol demanded memory adjustment immediate. Extraction. But the thought of altering Nicole's memories of her made Alira physically ill. Instead, she composed a different message, requesting a rare direct audience with a council member. She would have to wait perhaps days for a response. Meanwhile, her relationship with Nicole hung in an uncertain space. Nicole had declared her love, but accepted Alira's limitations, accepting that there were things she could not yet share. 3 days later, Alira received a response. The council would send an elder for consultation. Elder Vereen would arrive within the week. Known for her progressive views on interspecies relations, Vereen had advocated for more direct observation methods for centuries. Alira felt a mix of relief and trepidation. She met Nicole for dinner that evening, trying to act normally but feeling the weight of the coming conversation. You're worried about something, Nicole observed as they ate. Is everything okay? A supervisor is coming, Alira explained. Someone important. They want to review my work. Talon wasn't senior enough. Talon was an evaluator. This is different. Alira hesitated. This visit could determine many things. Nicole reached across the table, taking Alira's hand. Whatever happens, whatever you can, or can't tell me, I'm here. The simple acceptance, the trust in Nicole's eyes made Alira's decision clearer. Whatever the council decided, whatever rules existed, she could not betray this connection. Elder Vereen arrived 5 days later. Unlike Talon, she blended more easily with humans. Her mannerisms carefully studied, her disguise more convincing. She met Alira at the countryside house. Observer Alira, she greeted warmly. Your reports have caused quite a stir in the council. Elder Vereen thank you for coming personally. Your request was unusual, Vereen noted. A human has discovered your true nature, yet you request exemption from standard memory adjustment protocols. This requires direct assessment. Nicole is unique, Alira explained. Her intuition, her perception, her understanding of connection. So I gather from your reports, Vereen said, and your personal feelings for this human, they have influenced your judgment. They have enhanced my understanding, Alira countered. Is that not the purpose of deep observation, to truly understand? Vereen smiled slightly. Traditionally, we observe from a distance to protect both species. Perhaps tradition requires re-evaluation, Alira suggested. As humans themselves evolve, so too must our methods of understanding them. Bold words from a young observer, Vereen said, but without criticism. I would like to meet this Nicole who has inspired such advocacy. The meeting was arranged at a quiet restaurant. Nicole arrived looking nervous but composed. Alira made introductions, explaining only that Vereen was a senior colleague interested in Nicole's perspective on cultural exchange. Throughout dinner, Vereen asked thoughtful questions about human society, connection, identity. Nicole answered with her characteristic insight, occasionally glancing at Alira with unspoken understanding. Your species values individual choice, Vereen noted. Even when it conflicts with collective benefit, we struggle with that balance, Nicole. Acknowledged. But I believe our individuality is our strength. It drives innovation, creativity, new perspectives. And connection? Vereen asked. How do humans navigate connection across profound differences? Nicole looked directly at Alira. We recognize that differences are less important than shared values, shared experiences, shared hopes. She smiled. The external matters less than what's within. After dinner, as they walked through a nearby garden, Vereen spoke quietly to Alira, while Nicole walked ahead. She knows. Not explicitly, Alira replied, but she has intuited much, and she accepts this partial knowing. She does. She understands there are boundaries. Vereen was silent for a moment, watching Nicole, who was examining a flowering plant. In all my centuries of observation, I have rarely encountered a human with such perception, such acceptance of mystery. She is exceptional. Alira agreed. You love her. It was not a question. Alira did not deny it. Yes, our protocols exist for reasons. Observer Alira, to protect developing species from cultural contamination, to protect our observers from emotional entanglement. Vereen turned to face her. But protocols evolve as understanding deepens. What are you saying? I am saying that your connection with this human represents a new form of understanding. One the Council has long debated: the nature of connection across species, the possibility of deeper exchange. Will you order memory adjustment? Alira asked directly. No, Vereen said. Surprising her, I will instead authorize a limited truth protocol. Limited truth. You may share certain facts about your true nature with Nicole, under strict guidelines with clear boundaries, Vereen explained. This will serve as a controlled study, a first step toward the eventual contact that both you and Elder Talon believe is warranted sooner than our traditional timeline. Alira felt overwhelming relief. Thank you, Elder. Do not thank me yet, Vereen cautioned. This path holds risk for both of you. That evening, after Vereen departed, Alira invited Nicole to her apartment. They sat on the small balcony looking up at the stars, neither speaking for several minutes. Your supervisor seems nice, Nicole finally said, less intense than Talon. She is wise, Alira replied, and she has given me permission to tell you certain things. Alira took a deep breath. Things I have wanted to share. Nicole turned to her, eyes wide. I'm listening. I am not from another country. Alira began. I am from another world. A planet orbiting a star you call Kepler. 86. Nicole was silent, her expression unreadable. I was sent here to observe humanity, to evaluate your species, readiness for eventual contact. Alira continued. We have been watching Earth for centuries. I knew it, Nicole whispered. I mean, I didn't know exactly, but I felt it. Something about you was different, not just culturally. You are not frightened. Should I be? Nicole asked. No, we mean no harm. We only observe. Until your species is ready for knowledge of the wider community. Nicole processed this. And when will that be? Traditionally, centuries from now, Alira admitted. But my observations suggest sooner, perhaps within decades. Because of what? You've seen here because of you, Alira said simply. You and others like you who show humanity's capacity for understanding, for acceptance, for growth. 6 months passed since Alira revealed her true nature to Nicole. Their relationship deepened as they navigated the complex space between two worlds. Nicole had 1,000 questions. Some Alira could answer, others she could not. The boundaries of the limited truth protocol were sometimes frustrating, but Nicole accepted them with grace. "So you really live for 500 years?" Nicole asked one evening as they cooked dinner together. "On average, yes," Alira confirmed, stirring a pot of pasta, one of her favorite human foods. "And you're 76. Nicole smiled. "I'm dating an older woman. In my culture, I am barely an adult." Alira laughed. "A child given serious responsibility." "Does it bother you?" Nicole asked more seriously. "That my lifespan is so much shorter?" Alira set down the spoon, turning to face Nicole. This was something she had thought about often since their relationship began. "Every connection has its challenges," she said carefully, "but I would rather have this time with you, however long, than not have known you at all." Nicole kissed her. "Good answer." Their days fell into comfortable patterns, Nicole running the bookstore, Alira continuing her observation work. They spent evenings and weekends together exploring the city, hiking in nearby mountains, cooking new foods, watching films. Alira took careful notes on everything, still fulfilling her mission. But her perspective had shifted. She was no longer just an observer, but a participant in human life. The council continued. To monitor the situation, Elder Vereen checking in monthly. Each time Alira worried they might end the experiment, recall her adjust memories. But each time Vereen seemed increasingly intrigued by the developments, especially by how Nicole processed the limited information she had been given. "She does not press for technological secrets," Vereen noted during one communication. "Most humans would. She understands the boundaries," Alira explained. "She respects the process." "Remarkable," Vereen said. "Perhaps she is not representative of your average human." "Perhaps not," Alira admitted, "but she represents what humans can be. Their potential." One morning, Alira received an urgent communication. The council had detected an approaching solar flare, one that would temporarily disrupt Earth's communication systems. Such events were normally of little concern to observers, but this one had special significance. "The flare will reveal our monitoring satellites to Earth observers," Vereen explained. "Temporarily, your mission must ensure no connection is made between these anomalies and extraterrestrial presence." "How can I prevent astronomical observations?" Alira asked. Concerned. "You cannot, but you can monitor the situation. Report any concerning developments. The satellites will re-establish their cloaking once the flare passes. It is merely a precaution." For the next week, Alira monitored human news, scientific channels, and observatory reports. The solar flare arrived as predicted, causing minor disruptions to power and communications. But more concerning, several astronomical observatories reported strange objects in Earth, orbit objects that appeared and then seemed to vanish. Nicole showed her a news article about it one evening. "Strange satellites spotted during solar storm, scientists puzzled." "Interesting," Alira said, trying to sound casual. "Some people are saying aliens." Nicole smiled, giving Alira a knowing look. "What do you think?" "I think humans are very quick to jump to conclusions, but in this case they'd be right." Alira gave her a warning look. "Nicole, I know boundaries." Nicole set down the tablet. "But hypothetically, if someone wanted to find evidence of observers watching Earth, where would they look?" "Hypothetically, they should not look at all," Alira said firmly. "Some knowledge comes at a designated time." "Not before." Nicole sighed. "I understand. But you can't blame humans for being curious. It's our nature." Later that night, Alira reported the conversation to Vereen, including her concerns that Nicole might pursue the satellite anomalies despite her warnings. "This was always the risk," Vereen noted. "Knowledge once given creates hunger for more." "What should I do?" "Continue to monitor, discourage investigation, but without raising suspicion." Vareen paused. The council is divided on this experiment. Some feel it has gone too far. Others find the results promising. The next phase may depend on how your human handles this situation. The following days were tense. Alira noticed Nicole spending more time on her computer. Reading articles about the mysterious satellite. Scientific discussions online were becoming more focused, some suggesting advanced technology of unknown origin. Conspiracy theories flourished. Alira tried to distract Nicole, suggesting hikes, weekend trips, new restaurants. But Nicole seemed preoccupied. Her natural curiosity, the very quality Alira admired, now threatening the mission. Finally, one evening, Nicole closed her laptop and faced Alira. "I need to talk to you," she said, her expression serious. "About the satellites." Alira's heart raced. "What about them? I know they're connected to you." "To your people," Nicole said directly. "And I know you're probably under orders to discourage my interest." "Nicole, let me finish." Nicole held up her hand. "I've been reading everything I can find. The scientific analysis, the trajectories, the technological implications. And I've made a decision." Alira braced herself. "I'm not going to pursue it further," Nicole said, surprising her. "Not because I don't want to know, but because I understand now what you've been trying to tell me. Some knowledge has consequences, ripple effects, and timing matters." Alira felt a wave of relief. "What changed your mind?" "I read a paper by an astronomer, someone who spotted one of the objects. She wrote about the responsibilities of discovery, the ethics of revelation, how some truths need the right context to be properly understood." Nicole reached for Alira's hand. "It made me think about us, about the trust we've built, the boundaries we respect. I don't want to be the person who breaks that trust out of selfish curiosity." The astronomer. Alira asked, curious. "What was her name?" "Dr. Vareen Chen." Nicole replied, "She's new apparently, but her paper was brilliant." Alira suppressed a smile, recognizing Elder Vareen's human alias and her subtle intervention. "I love you," Alira said. "Do you know that?" "I do." Nicole smiled. "Even if there are things you can say yet." That night, Alira sent her report to the council detailing Nicole's decision, her reasoning, her restraint. She included her own assessment that Nicole represented the best of humanity, their capacity for understanding, for patience, for respecting boundaries larger than themselves. 3 days later, Alira received a response, and the council had reached a decision based on the evidence gathered from her mission, from Talon's evaluation, from Vareen's oversight, and from the limited truth experiment. They were accelerating their timeline for Earth contact. Not centuries, not decades, but years. Perhaps as few as 5. "Your mission is being expanded," Vareen informed her. "You will identify and assess other humans with similar potential. To understand, to accept, to process complex truths. Nicole will be the first of what we are calling bridge humans, those who can help their species transition to cosmic awareness." And Nicole and I, Alira, asked the question that had weighed on her for months. "Your personal connection is now classified as a diplomatic relationship," Vareen said with what sounded like amusement. "The first unofficial alliance between our worlds. The council recognizes its value, its potential as a model." Alira could hardly believe what she was hearing. "So we can continue, yes, within the expanded protocols, which now include permission to bring Nicole to the regional observation base, when you deem her ready." That evening, Alira could barely contain herself. As she waited for Nicole to arrive, the future had suddenly expanded in ways she had not dared hope. The distance between their worlds beginning to close. Nicole arrived carrying takeout food and a bottle of wine. "You sounded excited on the phone. What's happening?" "I have news," Alira said. "Important news. My superiors have made a decision." "About us?" Nicole asked, setting down the bags. "About everything." Alira took Nicole's hands. "Earth contact is being accelerated." Nicole, years, not centuries. Nicole stared at her. "Are you serious?" "Very. And you are part of it." A bridge human, they call it someone who can help others understand accept. That's incredible. Nicole sank into a chair. But why? What changed their minds? Many things. Alira said, my report's Talon's evaluation, Varine's assessment. But mostly you. Your response to knowledge. Your handling of the satellite situation. Your balance of curiosity and restraint. Dr. Varine Chen. Nicole said suddenly, she's one of you, isn't she? Alira nodded. Elder Varine, yes. Nicole laughed. I should have known the paper was too perfect. There is more, Alira continued. I have permission to show you things, Nicole. To take you places when you're ready. What kinds of places? Our regional base for a start, a first step. Nicole stood moving to the window, looking up at the night sky. All my life I've looked up there wondering now. Now you begin to know, Alira said, joining her. Not everything, not yet, but more than before. Nicole turned to her, eyes bright with emotion. When do we start? Soon, Alira promised. But first there is much to prepare you for. The base is designed for my species, the atmosphere gravity light. Even with adaptations, it will be challenging for you. You'll manage, Nicole said confidently. I know you will. They stood together looking up at the stars, the distance between their worlds still vast in physical space but narrowing in understanding, in connection, in possibility.